Okay, so thank you guys. I'm really excited to be here, or be here talking to you wherever you are. It's been a really fun. I enjoyed my time. We were just chatting about last year. I am super passionate about esports and came to it kind of by a circuitous route. So I'm excited to share kind of how esports is growing up in Central California. Specifically with our grassroots esports league and kind of how we built it from 2 schools to now we're pushing 50 schools in 2 counties. So I'm excited to talk about it. This is me, or at least what I like to think of as an idealized version of me. I'm project coordinator from Stanislaus County Office of Education in the Educational Technology Center. My name is Charles Taylor. I am the vice chairperson for the Central California Esports League. That's the other hat I wear. Been in education for 22 years, primarily in secondary schools, social studies, which means that I a history nerd by trade. And then just a personal, I am a podcaster. I host a podcast called California True Crime. So if you're into true crime and you like stuff in California, check us out. And I am, full disclosure, I'm a casual gamer. I'm a console gamer. So that's kind of my route into esports and where my gaming life is pretty much entrenched. I do want to throw up, and he might join us. My co-presenter, which couldn't be here quite yet, is Dr. Richard Woodruff. He's a social emotional wellness coordinator for Stockton Unified School District. He actually is the founder of the league and is our current CCEL commissioner. So I'm hoping he will pop on and answer some questions as we go along. I put our emails up there because this is kind of we're building a group within Central California and beyond of like-minded individuals that can act as thought partners and share ideas back and forth. And so if you're in this to learn more about how you can build your own program, or you're looking for a program to jump on, or just want to know information, please hit us up. Let us know. We're more than happy to help and answer questions, or if you're looking for something, and we love to share. So what I'm going to cover today is I got some resources for you. I'm going to kind of go through really quickly why esports, and I think if you come to this, you already know some of the information, but I'm going to throw you some resources that might help have that conversation with other people that aren't here. I'll give you a little introduction to our league, what our mission and vision is, how schools participate with us, where we're going, like our next our next evolution, how we're jumping up, and then what we see is some areas for esports growth and potential in the future. California Esports Consortium that we're working on putting together, some community outreach in elementary and junior high growth, and then we'll do some questions and wrap up. So, but before that, I would like to kind of do a quick shout out and again, either in the chat, which I'm trying to open, or show chat, or on mic. What is your experience with esports now? Are you brand new? You're not? I'm going to unshare for just a tick so I can see the chat. So yeah, just in the chat, let me know where you're from, kind of your role, and then what's your experience with esports. Let me just give you a minute or two to do that. Cool, thanks, Jessica. Learner, excellent. Right on. All right, cool, man. That's awesome. I love this because we're all different areas of expertise and level. So this will be a fun conversation. So, and again, please shout out in the chat or on mic, and we'll go from there. Where is, sorry guys. You'd think I work in technology, I'd know how to use my own kit better, but I never do. Okay, so our objective is we're going to learn more about Central California and esports. I just did that. So here's our resources. I'm going to leave these on, kind of scroll through those at any point. If you're tired of listening to me talk, you're more than welcome to kind of jump in and dive into some of those resources. We have, I'll give you a copy of our rule book, kind of what some of the materials that we hand out to a new school that comes on, or a new district that's looking to partner with us. And this material is all kind of in flux. You can see our homepage, which is really in flux. Actually, we're in between, and we'll talk about kind of how our process of working. And then we have some videos. You can see what our season 3 League of Legends championship was like. That was our first in-person event. We have an ARAM tournament that was during the pandemic, which was really cool because ours was one of the only sporting events that our kids could take part of because they were at home. And then we have some information, a promo video that was put together, and then some more information on the individual games we're playing. So we're going to kind of go back over this as we talk, but the 3 games that our league currently plays for league play are League of Legends, Valorant, and Rocket League. And we'll talk about a little bit about why we chose those. So again, like I said, those of you guys that are here today, you're already into esports, or you're trying to learn it. But a couple of things that we found, when it's nice to have some of the stuff in your back pocket, as far as what how we can have some of these conversations with people that may not necessarily be completely sold on esports yet. So the first thing is global revenues as of this year is $1.38 billion with a B, $1 billion, right? That's a huge industry. And if we're not looking at it as potential places that our students will end up, either as game designers, even professional players, or shoutcasters, digital journalism, it's a huge part of their lives, and it needs to be looked at as a potential place for our students to explore. The audience for esports currently, again, in these statistics around, I'm not always the best at this, but currently 2022, it's 532 million viewers. So that's either watching them live or video on demand. Over 300 colleges are offering esports scholarships. Now, what's amazing about this is we are seeing a growing number of colleges offering scholarships, not just for players, but for those people that are trying to build the program. So your shoutcasters, which is a digital announcer, those people that can run a Twitch stream, those people that can run a YouTube channel, those people that know branding, or so then you're not only, we're offering scholarships to just the players, but it's those people that are help building that community. For me, my bread and butter in this, and what I love about esports and the programs that we're seeing up and down California, is that it's fostering teamwork, the social emotional learning, and then that our students are desperate for, as well as helping our students connect in different ways. What I love about walking into an esport program, and again, for those of you guys that are part of programs, or those of you guys that haven't even walked into a team or a live play yet, you're going to find that it is an eclectic group of kids, all walks of life, all socioeconomic backgrounds. The differences seem to end at the door, and all that matters is how you play the game. And seeing the kids playing in this and helping foster good positive digital citizenship, and really fighting some of the toxicity that can go on outside, it's an amazing environment to be in. And then again, as I just kind of said, it helps build communities of equity, equality, and inclusion. Our league that's one of our guiding principles, is that everybody's welcome at the table, and seeing that carried on in our students, so that they're fighting for that equality as well, and helping everyone feel welcome has been a really positive experience. Some more stuff to help you out. I don't want to burn time because we've got a limited time, and I'd much rather talk to you guys and answer questions and that kind of stuff. But if you are looking for some resources to have that conversation, there's a great Forbes article, a CNBC op-ed about esports. This is a really good quick video. It's a 4-minute video. This is actually a video that we showed to our first batch of admins to try to get them on board, and it can help. There's also an infographic that would help you have that conversation, or if you need something a little bit more visual. Oops, I just said that I wouldn't. Okay. How we kind of started, just a real quick rundown. It really started at Langston Hughes and Ben Holt Charter Academies in Stockton, California. It really started because a student came to our chairman and said, I'd really like to start esports. What the student didn't know, well, we think he didn't know, is that our chairman of the league is actually a professional esport player back in the day. And so as soon as that was asked, 100%, let's set it up. And so it grew from 2 schools playing each other a few times a month to they jumped on board to the next door school district, which happened to be my school district, Lodi Unified, partnered with our tech department and those of us in the support role with our first high school to OK. So now our league in a year's time went to 3. Currently we're at somewhere, depending on the season, between 40 and 50 schools spread over 2 different counties. There's 8 districts at least. I think I'm missing a couple, and it's everything from alt ed and charter schools all the way to comprehensive high schools. So our 180 student continuation school is going toe to toe with the 3,000 student comprehensive high school and holding their own, which as a continuation school teacher is amazing to see those groups battle it out in a collegiate and an atmosphere that breeds community, which is amazing. Our league is coach and student led and admin and IT supported. So every decision that's made in the league is made at a coach level. Everything's voted on and brought up at our annual meeting. So this is a very grassroots, egalitarian. We're all in it for the students, and I know as if you guys are here today, you're in the same boat as we are. Everything that we do is always kind of focused on what can we do to better engage our students. Some of our guiding principles: our teams are not just clubs; they are esports teams. So this is a little difference, and I know, and this is something that we've kind of fought with since day one, and this is something that all of our teams have come into and really trying to champion. This is that we are not an activity. This is a real sport, and our teachers are paid as coaches on most of the teams that they play in. The reason why we planted that flag was because we wanted our students to have that feeling that they were their team was just as important as everyone else. And it's a lot easier in some cases to get rid of an activity than it is to get rid of a sport. It also opens up an easier pathway to get our teachers compensated for being coaches. And I say teachers, but I mean our staff members, because we have a lot of coaches that aren't just teachers, but they are all walks of life in the educational area. We provide an equitable playing field for a diverse population of students. This includes the games we select need to appeal to a wider audience. All students and schools compete at the same level, which means they're not every school will play every other school in their division, and that all the students in that division are of equal rank. So sorry, I'm gonna go along with this. Just move this up here. The league is run by, like I said, the league is run by the coaches and players. Those of us that are in a quote unquote management position are just emissaries for their wishes. We're the people that are trying to support and execute, but really what the players feel is necessary, what the coaches feel is necessary, that's what kind of drives us. We also throw it out that everybody should be part of an opportunity to be part of that team. So if you don't necessarily if you really want to be a part, but you don't necessarily are a gamer, but you like web design, great. We have teams that actually have full-time web designers. In fact, Oakdale Joint Union High School District, their esports team website was designed by a student who went on to get a job designing websites for the district and is now in his first year in college. So this is a way that we're trying to get everybody on board. Same, toxicity has no place in our community. It is one of the founding tenets, I think. And again, for those of you guys that are already involved in the esports programs, I'm sure it's not much different for you. It's the same thing we foster in our classrooms, is we treat each other with respect and dignity. And we really foster that idea of, even in gameplay, that level should be there as well. And you see, it is kind of kumbaya, but that's why we like it. Our community is built upon our support of each other. So we have coaching networks where new coaches to the league are partnered with veteran coaches. We have had, actually just this last year was our first coaching network meeting, which was really positive. I want to coach esports, but I don't know the game. Great, we'll partner you with somebody who knows the game. And that's been a really fun thing to see explore. We have schools that have very well put together Twitch streams. We have other schools that are still struggling with that, so we partner those. You know, we're the agents of it's like setting people up on a blind date. You don't know these people, but they're going to become your best friend, and they're going to help you kind of go to that next level. So this is kind of why we believe that it's our community is really about supporting each other. The game is kind of secondary. You know, everybody likes to play and everybody likes to win, but really, if we can all rise together, that's our hope. It is built around digital journalism. It's encouraged, again, Twitch streamers, YouTube channels, web designs, anything that we can do to get kids involved in this program. And then again, this is a selfish, self-serving, because then it also helps get the word out about the program, and we get more people interested. We get more parents involved. We get more staff involved. And it becomes a real big community atmosphere and a positive. Schools are live streaming their matches. Actually, Patterson High School and Patterson Unified School District just joined us this year. They're planning all of their events to be live events, selling tickets to parents and guardians and families, which we cannot wait for next year for that to have that happen. So this is really kind of a fun atmosphere. These digital journalists, these shoutcasters, they're great ambassadors for our sport. And again, this kind of reinforces that idea that it's student-led, and that we're trying to use the talent. Instead of a school going out and paying for services, you have kids that are already experts in these fields. We have professional players that are playing in the league. We have Twitch streamers that have, you know, thousands of followers on Twitch or YouTube or TikTok. We're utilizing that. And that's what I would say to you as you build your program is, don't always look outside the district or the county, look inside and find out what you have there, because you really be surprised what's in your, you know, what's around your corner. One of our most favorite achievements is really pressing the shoutcasting. And then a shoutcaster, if you're not familiar, is just a virtual announcer. Some have student esports commentators that will commentate on the game on a separate channel. This is actually two of our first shoutcasters at our third annual championship event, and they live called the entire game, the entire day. They were the MCs, and it was great. Absolutely had a blast. I was still new to League of Legends. I had no idea what they were talking about, and it was great, because then it was those of us that were of the older persuasion. We're having really meaningful conversations with the students and the kids in the audience, because they were explaining to us how the game was played. And don't forget, there are scholarships for these roles as well. How our league season kind of rolls is we have 3 seasons. This is our first year with our 3 seasons. Our fall season, which is usually September to December, it's League of Legends. Winter is January to March. We play Rocket League, and then spring season is March to May, and that is Valorant. And we use Battlefy, which is our process for setting up brackets, and it works just like a regular sporting. The brackets are set, and then we announce the championship winners, and then date and time. I'm gonna stop there and kind of look, because I want to make sure. All right, before we move into like benefits, so that's a little background on our league. Are there any questions or anything that we can answer now? Yeah, of course, Dana. I'll throw that in right now. Let me get out of this, and then I'll put that link in while we're mulling over if anyone has any questions.
I can take care of that, Charles, if you want to just going on.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you, Dr. Lodge. All right. Okay, so things to think about for when you're starting. Oh, I probably should hit share. That's embarrassing. Please don't tell Bert. Um, so things to think about for requirements. So, and again, if you're thinking about starting your own program or you're interested, if and again we say Central California, but we're really anyone can join us. It's not you don't have to be geographically close to us. So if you like to join, at least even for a season, think about it. What we say is one of the reasons why we picked League of Legends, because it was the lowest cost entry into esports with the biggest payout, meaning there are more scholarships. League of Legends is the biggest game on the planet. There are more opportunities for scholarships for our students, and it is a team-based game, which is we really try early on where we are shifting a little bit for some console work and things like that, and we'll talk about that. But for us, we realized that most of the high schools that we were working with typically had a computer that could run League of Legends. And this is like almost, if you have a computer lab in your school or you're close to one, you probably have ones that would fit this requirement and it would run League of Legends. So there's no extra stuff you'd have to get outside of some headphones. Now, there are some modifications, as with anything else. The more advanced games, you're going to have to think about what kind of machines you're going to get. So things like high graphics games like Valorant and Rocket League, they would need a discrete graphics card. But what we found again in this is for our high school teams, most of the requirements were met by our yearbook and digital journalism classes, the graphics arts classes, and those kind of design labs. So what we did is a lot of our support people went out and did a poll and found that a lot of those programs, those computers were only used for a couple of periods a day, and that those teachers were happy to open up their doors for the teams after school. So this is another route of utilizing what you have on campus without having to go out and dump a bunch of money on the newest equipment. Now, one of the things that we found is with a lot of our funds that are coming out of the state now, things for SEL, computer science, those kind of funds can be used to outfit a lab that could double as your esports program lab. So again, and we have our chairman as well as a few other of our support staff are brilliant when it comes to writing grants and answering questions about where to find small pots of money. So if that's something that you're kind of struggling with, well, how do we do this funding? Please send me an email. I'm more than happy to help out with that and answer questions about how different programs have funded, because we've seen everything from some of our comprehensive high schools that had some extra scratch, have outfitted brand new esports rooms, we'll call them. We've had other programs that have had to beg, borrow, and appropriate whatever they had. And again, there's pros and cons to each of those. So staffing requirement for our league, and this is what I would think, kind of keep that in mind if you're thinking about building your own from scratch or even going with an existing one, is first off, I even though we are grassroots in the respect of we were built by individual teachers and then kind of worked our way up, having a supportive administration is probably one of the biggest hurdles you can get over. If you can get your principal on board, or you can get your superintendent, or you have, and I'm gonna poke Dr. Large here for being a supportive person at the county. If you have somebody like that in your corner that can actually say, yeah, this is an important program and let us help you, it will open so many doors and make a lot of that work on your end as either a support person or a coach a lot easier. For us, we require at least one staff member as a coach. Now, I say staff because initially I would say about 90% of our coaches are teachers. But within the last year, we've had a lot of interest from support. We have some pairs that are helping out. The coach doesn't necessarily know the game, but we actually have one of our schools is looking at their their night custodian loves gaming and is an expert in game. So he's working with the teacher as a coach to help as an assistant coach. So staff member is just somebody that's going to be there to help support the kids. The coaches are to act as advocates for the students. You do not need to be an expert on the game. I would say over half of our half of our coaches were not or are not experts in the game that they're coaching. But what they are there is they're there to help the kids. The kids know how to play the games. And if they don't, we can get help for that. But what you need to be there is to be there for that advocate for that student and give them a safe environment in which that they can build and build their team and feel that it's a comfortable place to be. The other thing is for our league, we have 2 times a year, we have coaches meetings, all league meetings, and we require our coaches to be there at least, or a representative to be there to both meetings. That's when we do our voting. That's when we kind of set the rules. If there's any rule changes, if there's any of that kind of stuff, that's done at those meetings. We have since found that we are growing to a point where we're adding an exec board. So we have some representatives from each of the regions that are kind of joined us that are helping to run the back end stuff with the publicity and the, running the website and things like that we're still struggling with. So our timeline is, again, this is kind of gives you like an average. So by the beginning of August, we have our league meeting. So right at the first of the school year. September 1st, our emails go out saying, hey, everybody needs, send in your teams, your coaches, everything like that. By the end of September, we put in our rosters and they get an email to their league representative, to the coach. The coach then sends it out to the students. The students log in, they register for their battle file, which then we create we seed our brackets with. Then 1st of October season, the official season for the fall season starts. And then anything with like missed games, or there's a school function or something happens, what we've decided, and why by we I mean the coaches decided, was they didn't want to penalize the kids' play, so the coaches get together and decide to play on another day, which is great, because then that way you're not penalizing for something that's out of the students' hands or out of the coaches' hands. And because we are at such a big geographical area, it makes it easier too. If something's going on in Lodi, but it's not going on in Oakdale, then we don't have to worry about missing a game, or students don't. We've also kind of expanded, and this is kind of where we talked about kind of where we're going. So that's kind of league up to now. Now where we're moving in the future is we're doing some expansions. One of the things that we're starting to work on our league is with Stockton Unified School District, is they're partnering with the Stockton Police Department, and they're working in our junior highs for community game nights sponsored by our league and the police department. So we're using Switches, Super Smash Brothers and Mario Kart for tournament play within those game nights. We have, the police department even have their own esports jerseys with our logo on it. And it's a way that we can build, one, we get to advertise our league to our next evolution of players. As a league, we get to work out a bunch of the kinks to start including junior high into our official league play. And it's a really nice way of community building within in our area of Stockton. And this is a model that this is just starting. I think it will be starting in the spring. And that's a model that we're going to hopefully then replicate in our other areas rolling out. And again, everyone's welcome. So it doesn't matter if you're a video gamer or not. And it's not just video games as well. There's board games, but the video games, as you guys can imagine, is the biggest highlight. We're also, and so what we built is we're starting to expand into junior high with a Nintendo Switch. The reason why is because it was a very, very popular game. We found out, we actually did an equity research about the demographics of players that we had in our league, and we found that there was a lot wider swath of kids that we could get if we added Rocket League, Valorant, and a fighting game. And the fighting game that came up more often than not when we polled our students was Super Smash Brothers. We started doing work with using Switches on a network. We have some our IT department here at Stanislaus County, as well as Stockton, has figured some best practices that we're starting to roll out amongst our group, and it's been really fun. It's fun to see an entirely different kind of a play and a different kind of kid come in and get excited about it. And as we said, we're priming the pump for our high school team. So our high school teams are starting to get excited and going down and working with the junior high as well. Where we're going from now, kind of in the future, is we're developing our elementary program. We're partnering with Fresno Unified, the Fuel program, which has an amazing esports program. to find a path forward for elementary K-12 esports. And so we're starting that with our first district series unified here in Stanislaus. We have started working on drone racing and what does that look like for first person racing, as well as coding, drone soccer. We're developing into ECTE pathways so that we're having packages that we can give to schools and say, if you have a team that's motivated, you have a coach that's motivated, here's ways that you can incorporate this into your curriculum so that it builds up for a CTE pathway. And then doing outreaches with district and community sport. We also have a sponsorship with Sector 6 Apparel. This is an example of their jersey. They offer jersey support for our sites. So, and then we are in the process, within the next year, each school will have their own designated shop on Sector 6. So they'll be able to go in and buy gamer tag apparel and stuff for their individual team. So if you want to buy something from our Plaza Robles Oaks, you can go in and buy their jersey and buy water bottles and stuff like that. Because again, this is kind of reinforcing what we see in traditional sports. If you go to like my old high school, Oakdale, everybody and their brothers got Oakdale football stuff on because it's a big football school. Our esports team is doing great, but nobody knows it's there. So this is a way that we can help kind of celebrate that and get the word out, as well as a portion of those proceeds will go be invested back into the program. So it's kind of like having your own Amazon shop. I threw up those resources again. You're more than welcome to kind of look at them, but I did want folks to spend a little time on this. I'm looking at my time because I don't want to go over. Okay. These two programs are amazing. Fresno Unified in Central California has been a huge leader in esports for us. We were developing about the same time they were, and we were doing it in silos until they kind of reached out and said, hey, we heard what you guys are doing. Check out what we're doing. And what they've done is they've incorporated esports into K-12. And not just as a sport or an after school activity, but also in the classroom. So I encourage you to check out their program. They are amazing. Julie helps run their program, and she is super helpful and will send you resources. And then the other one is a member school from our league that has taken a giant leap forward with esports, as well as incorporating what we're doing, and then what Fresno and kind of modeled that as well as Modesto City Schools and their program. The reason why I throw these on here is these are two of our groups that we're partnering with to build a California consortium of esports programs. And so if this is kind of something that you're interested in and you're like, yeah, I like that idea, I want to know more, this is not I will say it's CIF adjacent, is that we're trying to come up with guiding principles that we all can agree on and that we all run our programs, whether you join one of our programs or not, or you have your own. But this is an idea that we're all playing by the same rules. And, with issues of student data privacy, with toxic behavior, with equity, those kind of things that we know are important to programs. But sometimes outside entities or for profit, that may not necessarily always be on their radar. So if you're interested in that, I throw these out there for you guys to explore, check out our stuff. But if you are interested, this is a follow-up form, which traditionally is for people who'd like to join our league. If you'd like to, great, fill it out. If not, fill it out and let me know you want more information about whatever. And I'm more than that, I will follow you up and send you email, and then I'll add you to my email list, and then you'll get a ton of stuff from me. But we're really here. We're here to help. And I say we, as I think the entire esport community, no matter whether it's Riverside, whether it's Stanislaus County, San Joaquin, everybody's in the same boat. We're all trying to get out ahead of this and make sure that this is a positive experience for students. And you will not meet anyone in this environment, in this arena, that isn't willing to help or give you resources or even listen for 10 minutes. And that's been my experience, not only here with Riverside, but all the way up to Sacramento and beyond. It's been a fun experience. So I encourage everyone here, please let us know, any of us, if there's something we can do to help. So that was a lot of information in a short amount of time. So questions or thoughts or anything, that we can help with. No one's. I'll tell you one question that we normally get is, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna sort of second the idea of we would love to have that next step in Riverside County. Here we have a fairly mature program, but that next step of we conclude a tournament here and we've got our first, second, and third place. It would be great to then reach out to other counties or other regions,
right,
and then have our districts be getting that experience of playing beyond
right.
our,
which is really kind of how the California consortium kind of came up, and we're workshopping names. So right. It really was a few of us, Fresno, those of us in the CCEL, and a couple others kind of sat and said, that'd be really cool if we could play beyond our regions. And with the CIF, and if you're not familiar, CIF is what controls sports in California. With them coming down and saying, esports is not a sport, it's an activity, that really kills it for like just having a state champion and that kind of stuff. So what we decided was, as a collective, is like, let's put one together. So we are doing this kind of parallel to CIF with this idea of shared values, shared rules, shared things. And that way the Riverside champion would then be able to come up and play Central Valley champion. And then that might play Northern California champion. So if you, and I saw, Jessica, you saw your question. How do you join that? Just send me an email and I'll put my email back in the chat and I'll add you to the next invite. And that's the same for everybody here. If you're interested in joining this group, this is a super fun, no, it's fun. I was gonna say it's fun for any meeting. It's honestly, we have a good time. They're not, our first meeting, we just had our first meeting, was about an hour. We're outlaying some stuff. You don't have to know gaming. There's a little tech talk, but there's enough of us that don't speak that we try to ring the bell as much as possible when people go too off the rails and nerddom. But it's, we started talking about student data privacy and what are the concerns with that and how these games. And what we're trying to do is trying to have a single voice that we can all talk to developers, game manufacturers, tournament runners, any of these people that are saying, well, you're one small voice, we don't have to play by your rules because there's a much larger agenda. No. If we all come together, then we have one big voice. So yeah, send me an email. We're more than happy to have you.
Not only a bigger voice, but reducing the duplication of efforts, all over the place where we're trying different things, and like something we could share with you is we had our county office commissioned the law firm that we work with to do a white paper to give us an opinion on using Twitch and Smash GG, for example. And so
yeah.
That's something that we could share with the consortium.
It would be great because we're all working on that kind of stuff, and it really came from this idea of we wanted to expand into junior high and elementary, but I am such a nerd about student data privacy. I'm like, well, how does that work? And and it was Fresno that came up and said, no, here's our positive parent permission. Here's kind of what we did. Awesome. Great. That's going to save us a lot of work. Like you said, having these things already in the pipeline and that we can share off one another. And again, it's not saying, yeah, we'd love for you guys to join the Central Valley League, Central California League, 100%. Doesn't matter where you are in the state, join us. But we also know there are some realistic things about building your own program and the fun and the tightness that can happen. But it's always nice if you come to the table with something already, like let's look at a rule book and tear it apart and make it our own. That's kind of, again, what we're trying to foster as well is, if you want to join us, great. If not, take our stuff and tear it up, use it however you want. So just be kind, because it's all in flux. That's all we ask. So I will say too, if you're just thinking about starting a program, what I would do, one of the things that we did early on is we picked the game League of Legends, like I said, because of scholarships. What we found early on, because one of our support persons said, you're only hitting two demographics. You're hitting primarily Caucasian and primarily Asian students with that game. We found there was a huge equity issue with the games we were picking. So we polled our students, and I mean our students, like collectively through some surveys out to potential players. And we found out that we absolutely needed some form of sporting game, some form of first person shooter, and some form of a fighting game. And that's when the question came of like, which were the most palatable for the adult audience that we could still get through and a board certification and board approval in our areas. And Rocket League was, because it's the biggest sport game, you know, ever. Like, well, I won't say ever, but like it's a hugely popular one with a lot of potential. Valorant was a popular first-person shooter that still followed kind of the tenets of teamwork and building. As more of a capture the flag type game as well. And the violence was cartoony enough that we thought, and we had enough board approval that we could get that. And then again, like Super Smash Brothers, it was, I mean, you know, it's like Street Fighter when I was a kid. It's, you know, it is the game of the hour. So, and that's even something we can help to with as well. We've had some different districts have had different experiences with, you know, board approval being unanimous and others kicking and screaming. So if you need help with that or having those conversations, let us know. We're more than happy to be a thought partner. Any other questions or thoughts or like, how's it going in your guys' area? Those of you guys that are starting your programs or working in your programs? Yeah, a lot of interest. Yeah. I and kind of echo what Dana and Jessica are saying. It's, you know, it's there's a lot of information to gather. I promise. And Dana, you might look through our rule book, because that's kind of like, I tried to put it in kind of sequential order of and it might help you with some areas that you need to collect from. And I like Jessica was saying, it being a slow start, it really can be. And I would say there's nothing wrong with that. And those people that are like, we got to go now, put the brakes on, because there's, you know, I'll give you an example. We had a district that joined us, and we had teachers that are raring to go, but the district put on a break for good reason, because they wanted to make sure the teachers were compensated. So having those discussions at a union level of like, okay, what does compensation look like for an esports coach, and how many hours is that going to be? Those are boring conversations that nobody wants to have. But the reason why those conversations are had is then that program now has developed those rules that are in perpetuity, which means that's going to be a healthy program moving forward. Because it's now in the rule book, you know, I mean, it's in the district rule book. So it can go slow, but kind of embrace that is really work through each minute piece. And that doesn't mean you're not playing. It just means make sure that work is getting done, because that's going to mean the difference between a healthy program and something that's around for a couple of years. And then when you're not there, it's going to go away.
Right. And really important to get your stakeholders to come in.
Oh yeah.
Right at the beginning, before you even select a game and start rolling something out, because them to later then submarine something that started to get momentum because they don't like the game that you chose or whatever. Right. So yeah, I think like Charles was saying, it's important to get in front of them, in front of the administrators, the parents, the students, and any other community members, and talk about what it is that you want to do and what you're planning to do and why, and why you're making some of the decisions that you're making, and let them give you their input.
And it's been such a positive thing for us to see, because, you know, like for example, our continuation schools, as a continuation school teacher in the past, I knew that a lot of my students were not academically viable to play sports. But a few years ago, the CIF changed the rules that they could have lower than a 2.0 if they had a principal permission. So we took that rule and said, great, we're running with it. And our continuation school teachers have now, or principals have instituted a rule is you can't play unless you're here. So you have to show positive school improvement. Doesn't mean you have to make the 2.0. It just means you have to show improvement and you have to be on campus. And what we've seen is for those teams that those students are never late. They're always on campus. They're always, discipline has dropped. School pride has pumped up because on game day at a continuation school, all of the kids on teams are wearing their jerseys, just like a regular comprehensive high school. And it's been a super positive thing. We've had parents comment on that. And I love what you said, Dennis, about getting the stakeholders, because showing them the reason why this is important. They understand what traditional sports and the importance of traditional sports. We've had that in some of our areas bred into us, but showing them the importance of honoring what the kids like and giving them a safe place to do that can absolutely move mountains for you. And then they're going to be your biggest champions. And I would also say cast that net as wide as possible. Think about your ELAC meetings. Think about parent nights, open house nights. Start advertising, getting stickers made, even something as simple as, we started with, I think, 2 jerseys and walked around and then everyone's like, how do I get one of those? How do I get one of those? And I'm like, okay, great. Talk to your team. And that, just something simple as that can build atmosphere and build support. Sending your players in to have conversations, with your feeder schools. It's, again, and that's the fun thing. You're building that community. We got like 3 minutes, so I don't want to keep you, but if you want to hang out and ask questions or chat about your favorite game or
just a reminder to head back to the SCED. There's some more great sessions coming up at 5.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much for coming. I really appreciate it. And it's not hyperbole. Email me. I work in a basement and they don't let me out very much unless I have, so
Thanks, Charles.
don't tell Bert. Yeah, no worries. Thank you, Dan.